Hello and welcome to Bored and Confused. Today I have a special guest. My mother is visiting and we went to see a show together. What show did we see?
Fallen Angels.
Fallen Angels. Before we jump into this, please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me grow this channel and buy tickets for my mom to see shows with me. All right, so let's talk about Fallen Angels. What did we know about this show going in?
I know that it was written by Noël Coward. His first edition of it was banned in 1920 something.
1925.
And that's about it.
You know, I like to go in not knowing anything, but artistic director Scott Ellis put a note from the artistic director, so I always read these before I go in, and it does give the history of the play. It says that Coward wrote the play when he was 24, and it was initially censored by England's Lord Chamberlain, Lord Cranmer, citing the discussion of premarital sex. And we really like this one. The quite unnecessary frankness of expression among women. Boo. And anyhow, so he made a few changes and it opened in 1925. Then 33 years later, he revisited the play, tweaked the humor, expanded some lives of the characters. And I believe that's what we are seeing at Roundabout Theatre. Also going into this, we knew that Kelli O'Hara was in it.
Yes, that was the main reason I wanted to see it, because I love Kelli O'Hara. She is amazing.
And Byrne is also in it as well. It's just a 6-person play. So what is this play about? It's just 90 minutes in length. It's pretty short, and it's set in a London apartment in the late 1920s, and it stars these two women, played by Kelli O'Hara and Byrne, who are married ladies, and we've got their husbands, played by Aasif Mandvi and Christopher Fitzgerald. And then there is a maid named Saunders, played by Tracee Chimo, and Maurice Duclos, a very small role at the very end. He's a Frenchman, played by Consuelos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of Kelly and Mark, if you watch them on TV.
I had no idea who he was. These two married women come together. Their husbands have gone off to play golf, and they both had a presentiment.
Like they had a feeling something was going to
something weird was. They both had this feeling it's something weird, and they discovered that this man, Maurice, this Frenchman that they both had an intimate relationship with 9 years ago before they were married, is coming into town. They set up dinner, and when he arrives, it's going to be the two of them eating dinner, and he doesn't show up, and they start to drink, and then they get drunker and drunker, and they fight, and it's basically an evening of this anticipation of this Frenchman arriving.
And plus the maid comes in and out to add a little bit of
humor
and
the maid was quite funny.
Yes.
She knows everything.
Yes.
She's lived 900 lives, and I really enjoyed her. Let's talk about some positives. I thought that these two women were really well cast.
Yes.
They both looked great. They were the right age, the right look for the parts. They're both very funny actresses. We both loved the maid. I really enjoyed their drunk scene.
Yes.
The drunker they got, the funnier the play got. You didn't see, but Kelli O'Hara played a drunk in Days of Wine and Roses, and I thought she was so believable as a drunk, but that was tragic. So it was fun to see her use her skills again to play a drunk this time, but she's really hilarious.
And you were talking about the fact that there's one time where she's laughing, and she's so realistic that you think that she's out of character.
The audience thought she was laughing at the actor when it was actually the character.
Yeah, and actually then there was a line that said, "What are you laughing about?" So we knew it was part of the character, but it was just so realistic.
Yeah.
She's so good.
She's really, I just thought she was very funny. They were both great, but especially standing on Kelli O'Hara. Okay, well, let's go to the negatives then.
Okay.
What was your negative?
Okay. First of all, our seats were way over. Couldn't see people making entrances from the front door until they were already in the room. So sometimes there was audience reactions, and we're like, what are they reacting to? Because we couldn't see until they got in.
We couldn't see the entrances.
But the biggest problem I had, and partly with my age, even though I have had my ears checked and I'm not ready for hearing aids yet, but I had a hard time understanding what these two women were saying a lot of times, because they both had British accents. I have a harder time understanding British accents. The same thing happened when I saw Matilda, and they had all these little American girls playing British girls. Couldn't understand half of what they were saying. So unfortunately, now Matt could understand them better.
I understood about 95% of what they were saying, but I do agree, even though we were sitting very close to the stage, but because we were so far to the side, if the person wasn't facing me, I would lose some words.
Yeah,
we're
and that's
saying.
what would happen because sometimes the main characters were facing the wrong direction. A lot of times when the audience was laughing they laughed a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't know what they were laughing about.
Several times she was like, "What?
What?
And
He usually ignored me and didn't.
well, because
I
I don't
don't
want
want you to miss the play.
I don't want to miss it, but I also don't want to disturb the people around us.
That's true.
And also, explaining a joke doesn't make it funny.
You're right.
So I'm
you're
like,
right.
if you miss the joke, you missed the joke.
So that was
sorry, Mom.
That was my big.
So my
frustration.
recommendation, though, and I know you don't have trouble hearing. Your hearing's good.
No, I heard it. I didn't understand what they were
But
saying.
next time, I think we would want to do the hearing assist because even though you can hear fine, it just makes it louder in your ear. It's like they're talking right to you, and I think you would understand it.
Yeah, probably because I haven't never done that.
But I will say you are correct. It was challenging for me. I really had to focus. I was really like, what are they saying? And it was harder, I felt. I had a harder time with Rose Byrne, but I think it might have been because she was just always staged to be facing the other way with us.
Well, Kelli was at the beginning when she was talking to her husband.
She was also facing away from
and
us.
I was having trouble with that.
Yeah, and also Kelly's voice is higher, and I just felt like
Yes.
it's sometimes we get lost. Anyhow.
I did like her little discussion with her husband near the beginning about, well, no, we're not in love anymore.
Yeah, there's.
And then
yeah.
they had to clarify, no, I still love you. I'm just not in love with you.
Yeah, the opening scene's really cute. It actually started out very kind of blue with the Big Ben joke.
Yeah, there
I
was
was
a little bit of.
I was a little scandalized. I'm like, oh, we're going there. I get why critics were originally scandalized by this play. So this is one of his first plays, of Noël Coward's first plays, and it doesn't have the same structure and weight and nonstop comedy that plays like Blithe Spirit or Hay Fever or Private Lives has. It feels very much a precursor to this. Another positive thing is I thought the men were both quite good, Chris Fitzgerald and
the husbands.
Mandvi.
Yes, they were. I thought they did an excellent job.
Yeah, Aasif Mandvi. They were easy to understand too.
They weren't in it as much because they went off to play golf.
Yeah, they're in the first scene and then they disappear and then they come back to the scene.
Then they come back.
Essentially, this play is for two women.
Oh yes, because most of it is
It's just the two of them, and I think it's an opportunity for two big comedic actresses to just do whatever they want with this play. This is one of Coward's first plays, and because it doesn't have that real bite, and it also doesn't have a lot of plot to it.
No.
I love these two actors, and I think they're great comedic actors, but often when we see them, we usually see Rose Byrne as more of the straight man in the comedic movies she's in. And Kelli O'Hara we see in a lot of musical comedies, but she's not a really broad comedian. And I thought maybe someone like Jennifer Saunders and Dawn French or Joanna Lumley could make up for kind of the lack of sharpness to this dialogue, because this dialogue is not as sharp as Private Lives and those other later plays. So I
don't
felt
know about any of those people.
well, I just felt we needed it either needed sharper writing for these actors, or we needed actors who can read the phone book and make it funny.
I think it was the writing.
Yeah, the writing. But that's why I was like, give me just a hugely comedic actor. Give me Melissa McCarthy or something who will just make it funny no matter what. But I felt these actors, deserved a stronger, a more witty script. It feels a little bit like this play might have been inspired by something like The Importance of Being Earnest and the relationship of the two women in that play who love each other and then fall out and then come back together. It's got that kind of arc to it.
Well, I felt like not a lot really happened.
No.
In terms of plot. I think when I had read something about it, I was assuming that when this gentleman from their past came back, that something was going to happen and they were going to have some extramarital.
Yeah, that's
and
what
that
I thought
wasn't.
too.
That didn't happen.
That would be probably way too scandalous for the
Oh, that would
the
have been
20s.
really scandalous. But I that's what I assumed.
I felt the
was
same
gonna
thing
happen.
because we keep waiting for Maurice to show up, and spoiler alert, he shows up. You know, he's in the playbill. He's going to show up.
But not till almost the end.
He has like 4 lines.
Well, I made a few more than that, maybe.
But what I
Not very
didn't
many.
like, he's setting up constantly. This guy's going to show up, and we think it's going to explode. And then when he does show up, it's a big nothing burger.
Yeah,
And
nothing really happens.
Nothing really happens.
Oh, wait, except at the end. Well, I guess.
Well,
it's
we
not
don't
a
want to give
spoiler.
away the end. I felt it just wrapped up really easily and not very interestingly. It felt like Coward was just taking an easy way out to just, let's wrap this play up really quick. And so it wrapped it up, and it wasn't even that dramatic.
I can't
We're
help
like,
but wondering
okay.
what his first version that was banned had in it, because maybe there was.
I probably think it was similar. I think he expanded, probably the character he expanded was the maid. And again, the maid is very interesting in the first half of the play, but then all of her antics don't lead up to anything.
No, they're just, it's more like another way to get laughs.
Yeah, she never factors into the play, like the plot.
Oh, yes, she does.
Just with the
notebook, because she writes that down from the phone number.
But it has nothing to do with her character being a know-it-all. Like,
oh, no. That's just to make it interesting.
Yeah.
That's like at Abbott Elementary, if you're familiar with that show. The janitor is always talking about when he was there, did some certain special thing, or when he had this kind of job, or and all these crazy things that you would never expect a janitor to do. Well, that was kind of what the maid was coming up with.
It's that kind of trope. And she was funny, but I just felt like, hey, what's the point? Okay, so were you bored?
No, I wasn't really bored because I was too busy trying to.
Are you working hard to understand
what they were saying? So that kept me engaged.
But
it wasn't. I was just kind of a little let down that I was expecting a little bit more.
I was a little bored with it because just you keep talking about this guy, and then the doorbell would ring or the phone would ring, and it's never him. It just, after a while, there was a sameness to it.
Yes.
And I was just like, are we ever going to meet this guy? Were you confused?
Yes.
Because you couldn't hear.
I was just confused because I couldn't hear.
Yeah.
And we have to remember that it was one of Noël Coward's
one of his early plays. Yeah.
So he did some fine tuning later.
Confusion to me was I didn't feel like Maurice was even necessary as an actor. Like, why write a role for an actor to come on for a minute?
Yeah, but they had to have the device for the two of the women to be able to.
But why did he need to come on stage? Couldn't have just escalated with the husbands getting really upset?
Because they hadn't seen him for 9 years, and they were speculating that he might be fat and bald. Yeah. And so we have to see him because he comes in and he's very handsome, and that's part of. I don't know. That's why they need him to come in. He needs to come in to show that he's handsome.
But as a producer, I would be like, why are we paying this actor? And sure. So we gave, what's his name again? Mark Consuelos. He's very handsome.
He is.
He did that part of his job very well.
Yes, and that was mainly, he was just there to be eye candy.
He wasn't required to do any acting, really. He just walked in, delivered his lines
with his sort of French accent.
A sort of French accent, and he just comes in, gives his lines. The other people are doing the acting around him. But for me, as a producer, I would have been like, is there a way, or even as a writer, I would have been like, is there a way for them to open the door and see him, but the audience doesn't see him, and have them go, oh. And so we get that he's handsome, but why were we paying an actor?
But there is a thing at the end that he does say that what he's planning on doing I
don't know. You can write your way around that.
Okay, well.
You're accepting what you saw.
You're overthinking this.
Well, I'm not overthinking it. I'm thinking about money.
Oh, okay.
As a writer and as a producer, if you write a character that is only in the play for 2 minutes.
Oh, you got to pay him.
It's like, give them another role earlier on, or you got to pay them. And as a writer, I know that I give this play to a producer, they're going to say, yeah, can you cut that guy? Can you find a way around it?
To save money.
Find a way around it. Otherwise, it was ridiculous. And Mark Consuelos probably isn't. Do you think he's working for scale? No. You knew who he was.
No, with his name. That was,
Anyhow, comment below if you agree with Mom or if you agree with me. All right. So, reasons to see it. I really feel like this note that we got from the artistic director is really telling you why this play is being done. It's really more of a history exercise and a history lesson.
Nostalgia and history.
Yeah. So if you love Noël Coward, go see it to see an early work by Noël Coward. If you love Kelli O'Hara, if you love Byrne, if you love any of these actors, Fitzgerald, Aasif Mandvi, Mark Consuelos, if you want to see any of these people, they're doing great work. And I think this is the best production you're going to see, probably.
Oh, I would think so, yes.
Of this play. So go check it out for that reason. And we did laugh. It was funny.
Well, I would have laughed more.
We would have laughed more.
You laughed more.
I laughed more because I understood more.
The rest of the audience laughed more because they heard.
So let's get to that. We got our tickets for $53 on the Stay-Tix app, but you never know where they're going to be. But these were clearly rush tickets. You actually had a plus-size seat.
Oh yeah, that was. I honestly don't need a plus-size seat.
No, you don't. But
there was. I could have put two us. We almost could fit in one seat. It was huge.
All the way over to the left. I forget the row number. I'll put it here. But we were all the way to the left, 19 and 21. And it's just the sight lines. And my recommendation for this play is you need to sit center orchestra. because I feel like even in the mezzanine, even though this is one of the smallest houses on Broadway, the sound design felt really natural.
Yes.
It didn't feel amplified at all, which I like. But for this play, since they were downstage and facing each other, you really need to be more center so that it makes it easier to hear them. Otherwise, get that hearing assist. Yeah, so you can get your tickets on Today Tix. Roundabout has, I think, $30 tickets for people 40 years and under, so check that out. Yeah, and honestly, for a 6-person play, I feel like a $45 ticket is more appropriate than $53. Give us our $7 back. 14.
You've always been frugal.
I'm very frugal. All right, so any final thoughts?
No, I'm glad I saw it, but it was a little bit disappointing for me. I was expecting a little bit.
Yeah, I wanted a little...
more of a plot.
Yeah, and my level of expectation went down after I read the artistic director note, because I went, oh, okay, we're doing history here.
It's really historic.
Which it is, and I think it's worth it for it. Like we said, it's the best production you'll see of this. I'm being redundant. Anyhow, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me.
You're my pleasure.
I appreciate it, and we'll see you at the next one.
Don't bore me, don't confuse me. If you do, then you'll lose me. Don't wanna drift away, wanna stay inside the play. Keep me engaged, keep me amused with what's in front of me, 'cause I don't wanna be bored and confused.